I buried my wife yesterday at 3:15 in the afternoon. I know the exact time because I kept checking my watch, counting down the minutes until I could leave the cemetery and never come back. The service was small, just a handful of people who felt obligated to attend. Her mother sobbed into a tissue. Her sister stood, stone-faced and silent. I stood at the front, playing the role of grieving husband, while inside I felt nothing but relief. Emma had been sick for 8 months. Cancer, they said. Aggressive and unforgiving. I watched her waste away from a vibrant 32-year-old woman into something I barely recognized. The treatments destroyed her faster than the disease. She lost her hair, her appetite, her will to fight. By the end, she weighed 87 pounds and could barely lift her head from the pillow. I took care of her through all of it. Changed her bedpans, administered her medications, held her hand during the worst nights. Everyone said I was a saint, a devoted husband who never wavered. They had no idea how much I hated every second of it. The truth is, I stopped loving Emma long before she got sick. Maybe I never really loved her at all. We married too young, caught up in the romance of it all without understanding what marriage actually meant. By year 3, we were sleeping in separate rooms. By year 5, we barely spoke, except to argue about money or whose turn it was to take out the trash. When the doctor told us she had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, Emma cried and reached for my hand. I held it and said all the right things, but inside I was already calculating. How long would this take? What would I do after? Could I finally be free? I know how that sounds. I know what kind of person that makes me. But I am done pretending to be better than I am. I stayed because leaving a dying woman would make me look like a monster. So I played the part, counted the days, and waited for it to be over. Yesterday, it finally was. The funeral director was a man named Gerald, mid-50s with kind eyes and a practiced expression of sympathy. He guided me through the logistics with professional efficiency. Casket selection, burial plot, flower arrangements, eulogy, coordination. I picked the cheapest options for everything except the casket. That one I splurged on, picked a beautiful cherry wood model with brass handles. People would see that and think I truly loved her. The burial was at Riverside Cemetery, a sprawling property with rolling hills and ancient oak trees. Emma's plot was in the newer section, where the grass was still patchy and the headstones looked too white and clean. I stood by the grave as they lowered her casket into the ground, watched the mechanical precision of it all. Straps and pulleys and strong men in dark suits doing a job they had done 1,000 times before. Emma's mother clutched my arm and wept. "I am so sorry, Thomas," she kept saying. "I am so sorry." I patted her hand and said something meaningless about Emma being in a better place now. I did not believe in heaven or hell or anything that came after. I believed in endings, and this was one. After the burial, there was a small reception at Emma's sister's house. I stayed for exactly 45 minutes, accepted condolences from people I barely knew, ate a sandwich I did not taste. Then I excused myself, claimed I needed some time alone to process everything. I drove home to our apartment, the place where Emma had spent her final months dying slowly in our bedroom. I should have felt something walking through that door. Sadness, maybe, or guilt, but all I felt was exhaustion and a desperate need for a drink. I poured myself 3 fingers of whiskey and sat on the couch in the dark. Tomorrow, I would start cleaning out Emma's things. I would donate her clothes, throw away her medications, scrub away every trace of sickness and death. I would sell the apartment and move somewhere new, somewhere without memories. I would start over. I fell asleep on the couch around midnight, still in my funeral suit, the empty glass on the floor beside me. I woke up to my phone buzzing on the coffee table. The screen lit up the dark room with harsh blue light. I fumbled for it, squinting at the brightness. At time read 6:43 in the morning. I had a text message from Emma. I stared at the screen, my brain struggling to process what I was seeing. Emma's name, Emma's number. A message sent 4 minutes ago. My hands started shaking. This was not possible. Emma was dead. I had buried her yesterday. I'd watched them lower her casket into the ground. I'd heard the first shovelfuls of dirt hit the wood. I opened the message. It said, "I know what you did." I dropped the phone like it had burned me. It clattered against the hardwood floor, the screen still glowing in the darkness. I sat there breathing hard, my heart hammering against my ribs. This was not real. This could not be real. Someone was playing a sick joke. Maybe Emma's sister, angry at how quickly I had left the reception, or one of Emma's friends, someone who had never liked me, who thought I had not been good enough for her. I picked up the phone with trembling hands and typed back, "Who is this?" The response came immediately. "You know who this is? Thomas. We need to talk." I stumbled to the bathroom and threw up. When there was nothing left, I sat on the cold tile floor and tried to think rationally. There had to be an explanation. Someone had access to Emma's phone. That was the only possibility. Her phone had been in her purse at the hospital, and I had never picked it up. Someone must have found it, must be using it to mess with me. I called the hospital where Emma had died. The night nurse who answered sounded exhausted and irritated at being bothered so early. "This is Thomas Garrett," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My wife Emma passed away 8 days ago in your hospice unit. I never collected her personal belongings. Do you still have them?" There was a pause, the sound of keyboard clicking. "Mr. Garrett, we released your wife's belongings to her sister Jennifer on the day she passed. She signed for everything." I thanked her and hung up. Jennifer, Emma's older sister, the one who had stood stone-faced at the funeral. The one who had always looked at me like she knew I was not good enough for Emma. I called Jennifer. She answered on the 4th ring, her voice thick with sleep. "Thomas, what is wrong? Is everything okay? Did you take Emma's phone from the hospital?" "What? Yes, I have her things. Why? Have you been texting me from her number?" There was a long silence. "Thomas, what are you talking about? I have not touched Emma's phone. It is in a box with her other belongings. I was planning to go through everything next week. Can you check? Right now?" Another pause. I heard rustling, footsteps, the sound of a box being opened. "It is here," Jennifer said. "The phone is dead. It has not been charged in over a week." My stomach dropped. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I am looking at it right now." "Thomas, what is going on?" I hung up without answering. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Emma's number. "You look scared, Thomas? You should be." I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. I was breathing too fast, my vision blurring at the edges. This was not happening. This could not be happening. I needed to think. I needed to figure out what was real and what was not. Someone was doing this. Someone who knew about Emma, who had access to a number somehow. But who and why? My phone buzzed again from where it lay on the floor. I did not want to look at it. I did not want to see what the message said, but I could not stop myself. I crawled across the floor and picked it up. The new message said, "Meet me at our spot." You remember where? 1 hour. Our spot. I knew exactly what that meant. It was a coffee shop called The Grind where Emma and I used to go when we first started dating. We had not been there in years, not since the marriage went sour and everything good between us curdled into resentment. This was insane. I was not going to some coffee shop because a dead woman's phone was sending me messages. I was going to call the police, report harassment, get to the bottom of this. But even as I thought it, I knew I would not. Because if I called the police, they would ask questions. They would want to know who might want to harass me, what I might have done to provoke this. And I could not afford those questions. Could not afford anyone looking too closely at me, or my marriage, or the way Emma had died. So instead, I got dressed. I put on jeans and a sweater, ran water over my face, tried to make myself look like a person who was not falling apart. I grabbed my keys and my wallet and my phone, and I drove to The Grind. It was a cold morning in late October. The kind where your breath comes out in clouds and the sky is the color of old concrete. The coffee shop was in a neighborhood I had not visited in years, a trendy area full of boutiques and organic grocery stores, and people who paid too much for coffee. I parked across the street and sat in my car, watching the entrance. It was 7:30 in the morning. The shop had just opened. Through the window, I could see a barista behind the counter, a young woman with purple hair and too many piercings. My phone buzzed. "Come inside, Thomas. I am waiting." I scanned the interior of the coffee shop. There were only 3 people inside. The barista, an old man reading a newspaper, and a woman sitting in the back corner booth, with her back to the window. The woman had dark hair pulled into a ponytail. She wore a green jacket I did not recognize. I could not see her face. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely open the car door. I crossed the street on legs that felt like they might give out, pushed through the door into the warm interior of The Grind. The smell hit me immediately. Coffee and cinnamon and something else, something that made my chest tighten with memory. This was where I had first told Emma I loved her. This was where I had proposed. This was where we had planned our future together, back when I still believed we had one. I walked toward the back booth, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. The woman did not turn around. She just sat there, perfectly still, waiting. I reached the booth and stopped. The woman turned to face me. It was not Emma. It was a stranger, maybe 40 years old, with tired eyes and a sad smile. She looked up at me with an expression I could not read. "Thomas Garrett." I nodded, unable to speak. "Sit down," she said. "We need to talk about your wife." I sat because my legs would not hold me anymore. "Who are you?" "My name is Detective Sarah Chun. I am with the Portland Police Department, and I think you killed your wife." The world tilted sideways. Everything went fuzzy at the edges, like I was looking through a camera that could not focus. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Detective Chun slid a phone across the table. "Emma's phone, in a clear plastic evidence bag. We found this in your wife's belongings," she said. She had been documenting everything. "Thomas, every conversation, every argument. She knew what you were planning." "I did not plan anything. I managed to say Emma had cancer. She was dying." "Yes, she was dying. But not fast enough for you, was it? So you helped things along?" "That is insane. I took care of her. Everyone can tell you that." "Everyone can tell me you are a devoted husband," Chun said. "But devoted husbands do not increase their wife's morphine dose without telling the doctor. Devoted husbands do not research lethal drug combinations on their work computer. Devoted husbands do not take out a life insurance policy on their dying wife 3 weeks before she passes." My throat closed up. I could not breathe. "Emma suspected you were going to kill her," Chun continued. "So she set up her phone to send scheduled text messages. She programmed them before she died. Thomas, messages that would be delivered after her funeral, after you thought you had gotten away with it." The room was spinning. I gripped the edge of the table to keep from falling. "She wanted you to know that she knew," Chun said softly. "She wanted you to feel what she felt in those final weeks. The fear, the helplessness, the certainty that someone you trusted was going to end your life." "I did not kill her," I said, but my voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. Chun pulled out a folder and opened it. Inside were printouts, medical records, computer searches, financial documents, all the pieces of my careful plan, laid out like a puzzle I had not realized anyone else could see. "Emma's morphine levels were 3 times higher than they should have been when she died," Chun said. "The hospital flagged it during the routine autopsy. They called us yesterday. We were already suspicious based on Emma's messages to us, but this confirmed it." "Messages to you? What messages?" Chun turned her phone around. On the screen was a long email from Emma, dated 3 days before she died. "Dear Detective Chun," it began. "If you are reading this, it means I am dead, and it means my husband Thomas killed me." I read the first few lines before I had to look away. Emma had laid it all out, how I had grown distant and cold, how she had overheard me on the phone talking about life insurance payouts, how she had found the browser history on my laptop, searches for drug interactions and overdose symptoms, how she had asked her doctor about her morphine dosage and learned it was supposed to be much lower than what I had been giving her. She knew I was killing her, and she had documented everything, but she had not stopped me. She had not told anyone, had not asked for help, because she wanted me to do it. The realization hit me like a physical blow. Emma had been in so much pain. Cancer was eating her alive, destroying her piece by piece. The doctors said she might have weeks left, maybe a month. Every day was agony, every breath was suffering. So she let me kill her. She let me think I was getting away with murder, when really she was using me to escape a death that would have been so much worse. And then she made sure I would pay for it. I looked up at Detective Chun. My vision was blurry with tears. I did not remember crying. "She wanted to die," I said. "She was suffering. I was helping her." "That may be true," Keon said, "but that is not your decision to make. If your wife wanted medical assistance in dying, there are legal ways to do that. What you did was murder, Thomas, no matter how you tried to justify it." She stood up and pulled out a pair of handcuffs. "Thomas Garrett, you are under arrest for the murder of Emma Garrett. You have the right to remain silent." I barely heard the rest of the Miranda rights. I was thinking about that last night with Emma, the night I had finally given her the dose that would end it all. She had looked up at me with those sunken eyes and smiled. "Thank you," she had whispered. "You are finally doing something good." I thought she meant I was ending her suffering, but now I understood. She meant I was finally giving her what she needed, not just an escape from pain, but revenge. but justice, the certainty that I would not get away with what I had done. Emma had always been smarter than me. I should have known she would find a way to win, even from the grave. Detective Chun led me out of the coffee shop in handcuffs. People on the street stopped and stared. I kept my head down, unable to look at them. As we reached the police car, my phone buzzed one last time in my pocket. Chun pulled it out and looked at the screen. Her expression softened. Just for a moment. She showed me the message. It was from Emma. It said, "Goodbye, Thomas. I hope you find peace someday. I never could." That was 6 months ago. I am writing this from county jail, waiting for my trial to start. My lawyer says we might be able to argue for assisted suicide, might be able to reduce the charges to something less than murder, but I do not think it matters. Everyone who looks at the evidence sees the same thing. A man who killed his wife for insurance money and convenience. They are not entirely wrong, but they do not understand the whole truth. They do not understand that Emma and I killed each other in our own ways. I killed her body, but she had killed our marriage years before, killed any chance we had at happiness. We were both destroyers, both too broken to save each other or ourselves. The texts from Emma's phone stopped after that last message in the coffee shop. Detective Chun told me Emma had scheduled exactly 7 messages, one for each year we had been married. Each one designed to make me sweat, to make me scared, to make me feel what Emma felt in those final weeks. It worked. I have not slept more than a few hours at a time since my arrest. Every time I close my eyes, I see Emma's face, not the wasted, sick version from the end. The young version, the one I married. The one who looked at me with love and hope and trust. The one I betrayed in every possible way. My trial starts next month. The prosecution is seeking life in prison without possibility of parole. They say I am a danger to society, a cold-blooded killer who murdered his helpless wife. The media has already convicted me. I am the villain in a story that writes itself, and maybe that is exactly what I am. But sometimes, late at night, when the jail is quiet and I am alone with my thoughts, I wonder about Emma. I wonder if she is at peace now, wherever she is. I wonder if getting her revenge made any difference, if knowing I would be punished somehow eased her suffering. I hope it did. Because if Emma's final act was meaningless, if all that planning and pain accomplished nothing, then we both lost everything for no reason at all. My phone is being held as evidence now, but Detective Chun told me they recovered all of Emma's scheduled messages. She said there was one more, one that was supposed to send on the 1-year anniversary of Emma's death. Chun would not tell me what it said. She said I would find out when the time came, when the message was presented as evidence in court. I have 8 months to wait until I find out what Emma's final words to me will be. 8 months to imagine what she might have wanted to say. 8 months to live with the knowledge that even from the grave, Emma is still smarter than me. Still one step ahead. Still finding ways to make me pay for what I did. I buried my wife yesterday. Today she texted me. And tomorrow I will learn that death is not the end of anything. It is just another beginning, another chapter in a story that never really ends. Some people say that love lasts forever, but I am learning that hate lasts even longer. Emma hated me long before she died, and that hate was strong enough to reach beyond death, to wrap its cold fingers around my throat and squeeze. I deserve it. I know that now. Every sleepless night, every moment of fear, every second of waiting for that final message. I deserve all of it, and more, because I did not just kill Emma's body. I killed her trust, her hope, her belief in the man she married. I killed the future we could have had if I had been better, kinder, stronger. I killed us both, really. And now I am paying the price. The guards say I have a visitor, my lawyer, probably, or maybe Emma's mother, coming to spit in my face and tell me I am going to hell. But when I get to the visiting room, it is not my lawyer or Emma's mother. It is Emma's sister, Jennifer. She looks older than she did at the funeral. Her hair has gone grey at the temples, and there are deep lines around her eyes. She sits across from me with the phone pressed to her ear, separated by the thick glass partition. I pick up my phone and wait for her to speak. "I came to tell you something," Jennifer says. Her voice is flat, emotionless, something Emma made me promise to tell you in person. I grip the phone tighter. "What?" "Emma did not schedule those messages," Jennifer says. "I did." The world stops. "What?" "Emma told me what you were doing," Jennifer continues. "She told me about the morphine, about your plans. She told me she was going to let you do it because she could not take the pain anymore, and she asked me to make sure you paid for it. So I set up the messages. I programmed her phone to send them after the funeral. I made sure the police knew what to look for. I made sure you would get caught." Jennifer leans forward, her eyes blazing with an emotion I can finally identify. "Hatred. He killed my sister," she says, "and I made sure you would never get away with it. Emma wanted to die, but you did not do it out of mercy. You did it because you were tired of taking care of her. You did it for the insurance money. You did it because you are a coward who could not even be bothered to divorce a dying woman." I open my mouth to argue, to defend myself, but no words come, because Jennifer is right about all of it. "Emma is at peace now," Jennifer says, "but you never will be, and that is exactly what you deserve." She stands up and hangs up the phone. I watch her walk away, her spine straight, her head high. I sit there in the visiting room until a guard tells me time is up. Then I shuffle back to my cell and lie down on the narrow bunk. Tomorrow, my trial starts. Tomorrow, I will face a jury and try to explain the unexplainable. Tomorrow, I will learn what punishment society thinks fits my crime. But I already know the truth. I buried my wife yesterday, and today I buried myself. There is no coming back from what I have done. No redemption, no second chances, just consequences, stretching out forever like a road with no end. Emma knew that, Jennifer knew that, and now, finally, I know it too. The only question left is how long it will take me to reach the end of that road. How many years in prison? How many sleepless nights? How many moments of regret and shame and hollow emptiness? However long it takes, it will not be enough, because some sins cannot be paid for. Some debts cannot be settled. Some ghosts never stop haunting you, no matter how deep you bury them. I close my eyes and see Emma's face one more time. Young and beautiful and full of life, the way she was before everything went wrong. "I am sorry," I whispered to the empty cell. "I am so sorry." But sorry does not bring anyone back. Sorry does not undo what has been done. Sorry is just another word for too late, and I am the living proof of that truth.